What's going on, everybody? Toby1 Shinobi here. Today I'm going to teach you how to get high elimination games in Fortnite Zero Build, or how to W key. This is going to be an inside my mind video where I explain how I'm rotating around the map quickly, how I'm going to find more players than normal, how I'm going to eliminate those players and make those fights very easy. So first things first, you want to drop central map. Generally speaking, if you really want high elimination games, you need to be covering all corners of the map, and you generally want to drop in somewhere around the center. Now, most of the time it's actually not the best to drop in at the hottest location, because sometimes you can get kind of a scuffed beginning of your game where, like, you just are all fighting for loot, you don't get very much stuff, and you kind of die. So I like to drop somewhere like a little bit outside that has really good loot, and then I can get right into the hot spot and then get the good loot. Now, another key to W keying games or getting high elimination games is controlling the power items, getting those power items in your inventory and using them effectively against players, and one of those is definitely going to be the mythic AR. So I'm going to be going for that, but I'm going to be dropping outside it, and the reason for that is that there's a mini spire right here. These mini spires drop really good loot, and they drop rotational movement too with the surf cube, which can be really helpful for moving around the map quickly and finding enemies. So this is a bot. I think this is actually one of our only bot kills, thankfully, out of this gameplay. Most of the players are real players, so that's good. So we go ahead and loot here. We get a rare chest, that's nice, with some shocks, and we try to loot as quickly as possible. Always just work on looting more efficiently, quicker. Hit your heals while you're moving around, walk around while you're hitting your heals, manage your inventory while you're healing. You can pop things, you can drop things out of your inventory, such as this, and then pick something up during the heal, and you'll be fine. That cuts like seconds, and seconds really add up. If you can cut like 30 seconds to a minute out of your gameplay in the beginning of a game, you're going to be much better off than most of your enemies, and you're going to be able to rotate quicker and catch people off guard. So we're going to go over here to this little spire. I'm going to fast forward this. We eliminate these guys, and we basically just stay on the lookout, looking around while we're shooting, moving back and forth so we don't get shot in the back. We throw down a bubble instantly, and then we pick up the surf cube and replace our shockwaves. Now, the reason for that is because the surf cube is amazing rotational movement. When I say rotational movement, it means it's good for rotating around the map, moving throughout the map, going far distances, and the shockwaves are nice too, so I'm going to go back for those because I only had a bubble. But in general, I would say that the surf cube can actually replace shockwaves pretty easy, because you can shoot from the sky when you do this. If you just dash straight up into the sky like this, watch, I'm gonna dash like at an upwards angle right here, hit the sprint and look up. Oh, actually, I didn't have it ready, but here we go. So you can dash straight up, and that's like shockwave height, but better, right? And you can jump out of that and start fighting right from the sky, start firing from the sky, which is pretty amazing. So I think the surf cube actually is pretty much the best mobility in the game right now. Don't sleep on it. Once you master it, it's really helpful. So here's our first fight right here, really coming up here, and what I'm doing is I'm taking high ground here, and I want to hold this high ground position because I don't want anybody else sneaking up on me while I look for players. I want to find one at a time and try to eliminate them and clear the POI before I start working on the boss. So we run into this little goat here, accidentally fall off. That's okay. We're gonna go shockwave back up, do a little shock and shoot there. We actually run into a little piece of something on the roof there, and kind of ruins our movement, but now we're in a safe position. Now look, I'm not getting crazy. You don't need to jump in people's faces to get high eliminations. In fact, you usually want to be playing at longer ranges. Mid to long range is really how you get a lot of kills, because you don't take as much risk. If you don't take as much risk, then you don't take as much damage, and then you don't have to spend as much time healing. So if you can get early tags on people or land damage from afar, that is always best. And if you can, steal people's kills from afar, that's great as well. So right now, both of these guys are not looking at us. I'm literally just able to stand still right here and land shots and steal this guy's kill. I mean, I put a decent amount of damage to it. Now, this guy doesn't know where I'm at, so I'm like, okay, let's get on him. We only hit him for 28 here, and then I just miss a bunch of shots, which, I feel like he's running right now, so I'm just, pressure is on. And that's one thing also about, high elimination games, is you just want to keep the pressure on. You want to be the aggressor. You always want to be on the offense if you can be. Sometimes that changes. Sometimes somebody hits you hard, and in that case, you just get out, reset the fight, go find some heals as fast as you can, and then get back into it. You can just go find a new fight. You don't always have to fight the same player. So if you've got a player that's really holding you in a position, or you can't find a good way to fight the player, just move on, go somewhere else, and then come back and fight that player later. It's not worth wasting the time on somebody who's holding a really strong position on you, or is just being really annoying, just playing like in a very annoying way that's hard to really get an advantage on. just move on. So what I'm really trying to do here is just get health back on me so that I can get back into the fight. I want to go fight that guy up on the roof, and we're just looking for some shields. So if we can get back up to 200 total HP roughly, we're good to go. You know, if we're missing 50 shields, that's okay. You always want to have some shields on you because, you know, you might run into a good player who's going to strip your health down, and you don't want the fight to come down to just, you know, not having shields to begin with. So we're gonna go ahead and try to catch this guy off guard. He hit some nice movement when he sees us come in. We're gonna get Doubt because he went to high ground. We don't want him catching us off guard. We're gonna do a little quick reset right here, reload our weapons, and then go back up and look for him. We catch him in the back right here. And Superman, another Superman is over here. We're just gonna go ahead and push him. Notice that we throw down the bubble shield to cut the angle. And again, just aggressive gameplay can really, like, one, set the tone in fights for when you're fighting people. You've probably fought people who are very aggressive, right? Right from the get-go, if a player is like being really crazy and moving on you fast, you already feel like you're backpedaling. You're like, oh geez, this guy's like pushing. Like, you always have to be responding to their actions. So generally speaking, you want to be in the offense because you're going to make people kind of like try to take a second to figure out what to do. And by the time that they're trying to figure out what to do, they're usually going to be dead because you're just playing aggressive. So get used to playing aggressive. Just put in damage out. If you die, you die. You know, rerun the next game. Don't worry about it. Just get used to moving quicker and playing more aggressive. And I promise you'll have a lot more fun. So right here, to break this down, we just throw down a bubble because we know someone's creeping. We saw this little, we saw this guy that was wearing a mask, one of these scanning masks. So we throw down the bubble, pick up the scanning mask, mark this guy so it becomes an easy fight. We know exactly where he's at. And now we just come out of here with a little right shoulder peek out of this bubble, and we're trying to land headshot damage. Boss fortunately takes out the cover here, and that makes this a very easy elimination. And now we just go ahead and we've scanned. We kind of feel like we're pretty safe. We don't have full shields, but we are healing up because our rank went up. And now we're just going around here and looking for a safe spot to take this fight. So notice that I'm not taking this fight from the middle of the room. I want to get to a corner that's kind of more defensible that has exit options. So this is a little like zip line right here. There's other ways I can get out of here. There's a roof that's open. There's ways to get out of here. Now I'm feeling good about if somebody jumps me, I have an exit plan in mind. I also have good mobility and invincibility mobility, which is really great. This is great combat mobility, which again, the two categories is like rotational movement, which gets you across the map fast and like lets you jump players, and then there's combat movement that you can instantly use in combat to get out of a bad situation for just a minute or to gain an advantage on a player. And this cape is definitely one of those because you go invincible and then you can fly around for like 3 or 4 seconds, get to a new position to kind of reset the fight or gain a new advantage. So we're looking around and we don't really want to reload our weapon right here. I was looking for another AR to pick up and just shoot, but we are going to get rid of this gold AR and pick up the mythic, so I'm not really worried about just spending it all right now. And then we're going to hit the chug jug and get to moving. So we've got full health. And if you want a W key in lobbies, you generally don't want to be carrying heals. You generally just need to pick up the heals off of your enemies. You know, you got to play fast and you got to catch people off guard. That is the biggest thing to W keying. Really, the whole like idea behind it is this dragon-like playstyle. If you've watched my 3 playstyles of Fortnite Zero Build, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, go check out that video. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, the dragon playstyle is really all about jumping enemies, catching them off guard, and then putting immense pressure on them so they never feel like they can get an advantage in the fight or even get into the fight at all. They're always on the back step. They're always, you know, on their back foot. They're always trying to escape or get out of the fight for a little bit, but you just don't allow them to because you jump them, you take them by surprise, and then you put just so much pressure on them that they just collapse, right? So we're gonna go up here. Now, the reason we're going up to this island is because you definitely want this medallion in your inventory. They buffed this medallion. It's absolutely broken, totally overpowered now because it allows you to move extremely quick. You can basically like skate, which is like sliding, jumping with it, and move extremely fast and be invisible while doing that. It's crazy. It was bugged before where the movement was actually slower when you jump, than like a normal sprint jump, but now they fixed it and it's busted. So you definitely want this in your inventory. And again, going for power is really, really important, not only just to get the powerful items to take down more opponents, but also generally speaking, you'll find more players to contest and eliminate in these situations. Unfortunately, I didn't find anyone here. Notice that I move really quickly off this island and I just get out of here and try to find more players. Now, one thing you'll notice here also is the Mistform cape is great for moving from island to island without getting stuck in the glider lock. So if you're ever in an island fight and you got the Mistform cape, whether it's the Ascended Mist or the Mistform cape, you can just shortcut onto somebody's island without getting in that glider animation, which can really catch people off guard. So we go down here, we see a bunker, we see a car, so we're pretty sure there's probably a player here, and we see footsteps down there. Actually, yeah, we do. And we go straight down here and we catch him off guard. So when you have this medallion, you also take no fall damage when you sprint jump, which is amazing. And this is just, again, taking someone off guard. What the heck? He has no idea what happened before it's even over. Yeah, GG's. No chance at winning that fight. We pick up a surf cube. We're just, when you loot also, you got to be really, really in tune with what you want to trade out. Right now, I know that I want to trade out my shotgun and I want to get more of my surf cube. Everything after that is just kind of like, whatever. But I do want a better shotgun and I do want better movement with the surf cube so that I can keep W keying. Now, the reason that I'm not really driving cars too much also is because, one, with the surf cube, people will actually kind of shoot at you more, and you can get into the air and see more players. So cars are great because you can rotate around the map, but you don't really get to see as much of the map. And that's a big thing with W keying and getting high eliminations, is being able to see more players. So being up in the air at a high point is really, really helpful for that. So the island also is a great place to be if you want to rift onto island and just use it to scan around the map to scout. So scouting is really important. And here we go. We're going to probably jump this guy. Yep, classic dragon playstyle right here. Now, one thing to note is that I am trying to avoid audio cues. So this guy's probably going to see a faint icon of this the surf cube right in the distance, but he's not going to think that someone's jumping on his head immediately. He just saw the visual icon. He's just finishing up a fight, and what we do is we jump out of it and then we just get ready to line up a shot. Now, notice the crosshair placement is absolutely key to jumping people. If you want to land good shots on people, hit them hard, then you are going to want to practice good crosshair placement. So notice how I set my crosshair up here and it just kind of falls into him. I'm not whipping around, I'm not hitting any flicks here. It's just falling into the guy, and then I pull the trigger when I've got a nice shot. His overshield gets cracked. Now he's kind of like, what the heck, panicking. All he thinks about is running, right? And this is very, very common, even like in ranked. This is a pubs game, but even in ranked, when you jump somebody like that, their first thought is, I need to get out of here. I need to run. And if you're right on their butt and you don't allow them to do that, then GG's, right? You just win that fight. So I'm headed over here because I saw gunshots. So I'm going to check out the peak of this mountain really quick and scan. Looking for something. Don't see it, but now I hear some gunshots and crime, so we're just going to head out there. Now look what I'm doing again. I'm going to cut visual audio, and I'm scanning, moving right into the fight, getting aggressive. One good shot, and it's over. They just finished up that fight, so third partying, is always great. And then we get out. We just go back to moving. So notice, again, how much ground I'm covering. I am always moving. If you want a W key and you want to get high elimination games, you don't sit around and loot and, look for players for too long. If you find that you run into somebody who's hiding or being a rat, and trying to avoid a fight, just get out of there. Just, if you really want a high elimination games, just avoid it. Kill him later. He's going to have to leave the rat nest at some point. Yeah, fight him later. Go find other players. It's not worth the time. So right here, we're trying to put pressure on. We just realized that we are pretty much unloaded with our AR, and we don't want to get in super close range. We're not taking this fight super great. We missed a couple shots, but that's okay because we have this broken medallion. So we're just camera breaking, and now we're just keeping distance. One thing with all movement fights is changing the distance throughout the fight. It's super, super powerful, and barely anyone does it. If you have a way to get close to your enemy, hit them hard, and then back up and get out of that shotgun range and not receive a heavy shotgun blast yourself, then you are generally going to win that fight. If you hit one good shot and then get some range like this, you know, get out of that shotgun range and force them to try to run to you because they're in that awkward situation where they're like, I don't know how to pull out my AR or my shotgun. They usually leave the shotgun out and hit you for 20 or 30 damage while you're beaming them with an AR at medium range. And you just get to win. That wasn't a great example of that, but it still was me putting out decent movement and changing ranges quite often and making it just a really awkward fight. You can see how busted this medallion is at this point. This guy has like no chance because you just go invisible as soon as you leave the ground and you're moving abnormally fast. Look how fast I'm moving. I'm not even sprint jumping right now. I'm just jumping and moving forward, skating. If you don't know how to skate, watch my movement, any of my movement videos. I teach you how to do that. It's just jumping, sprint jumping, or jumping and land into slides. Jump, land into a slide. There's a little bit more to it with stamina management, but yeah, that's the gist of it. So we go right into the car, and we're trying to save a little bit of our surf cube, so we're just driving the car around now. We're going back to the middle of the map, and we're gonna go grab a faster car because two-seaters are always faster. One thing about two-seaters is you can boost off of mountains to get a lot of height to get really far, and that's really helpful, whereas the four-seaters don't go as far, they don't go as fast, their boost doesn't recharge as fast. So you can see how much ground I'm covering right here in the two-seater. Four-seater might be able to do this as well, but the boost is gonna regenerate a lot faster. All right, so I parked the car here because I see these guys fighting, jump out, and I push in. And I just go for this guy because he's the easy target. He's not looking at me. Neither of them are looking at me, so I'm pretty much free to take any target I want. I figured I'd take the closer one, try to land a good shotgun shot. Didn't work, but now we're just going to blow up their car. And I'm hoping to eliminate both of them. Superman gets out and starts diving around. We see gunshots coming from above us, so we now realize that we need to stay mobile right here. We don't want to park ourselves for too long. As soon as I see this gunshot, I'm like, okay, I need to start moving, so I start jumping and sliding, get behind cover, and start looking backwards. We get scanned. We figure, hey, we have the mythic AR. Let's just take a 50-50. This guy hits us with some shots. He has better cover than us. I'm on a left shoulder. He's on, you know, a little head glitch, so he's just got the advantage there. But, you know, we're going to get aggressive anyways. He seems like he might be a runner, so we're going to put some damage out in his car, and then we just realize, let's just go back and get this chug jug. We're going to hit the chug jug while we're in cover over here, and then we're going to go pick up our scanner again, or whatever item we see best. And we're also just looking for that Superman where he went. We're going to go back to island now, and we're just going to try to go as fast as possible to get up in the air, look for anyone on island, because I think I heard a gunshot earlier. Don't see anything yet. So I'm just scanning. And again, being up in this hover, this glide, is really great because you see more of the map. Now I'm seeing gunshots out this way. I'm looking that way. Oh, and here comes a glider. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and get behind him and then just try to put as much damage. This guy could have hit us as we were coming in here. I was trying to be pretty hard to hit, so when you are in a glider animation, you can kind of come down at a fast left or right angle from your enemy and try to just kind of make it really hard for them to keep up with you, and then get behind them and land into like a slide or some nice movement or whatever. This guy just decides to leave. He wants no part of it. So sometimes you will find an advantage when you're actually gliding in on someone because you can like make them miss a shotgun shot and kind of panic and then hit them with a good one yourself. I see a glider coming up behind me, so I know I need to finish this quickly, and then I get right back to cover. That guy really should have went under island and should have avoided being in the air like that. So now we're looking for the other player who is gliding in. Also just looking at this guy's loot to see if he had a surf cube, because again, we're just looking at covering as much ground as possible this entire game. That's like really the name of the game. So now we're just driving through the middle of the map, trying to find any people that are rotating from the outskirts. What you'll find is driving toward the edge of zone instead of the center of the map can kind of catch those last players that are rotating late. So I generally like to go backwards and then go in to try to catch enemy on the outskirts. Going straight to center, oftentimes you'll find is just empty, and sometimes it's just better to go to the outskirts and just find those people that are kind of rotating late. We're gonna go ahead and shoot. This is a big key here. Notice that I didn't shoot this player. I see them for a second, and I kind of have a shot on them, Well, actually I don't, but I go straight for the tires and I shoot both tires on one side because that's going to cause them to just get out of control and not be able to drive away safely. They're going to start running into things. They're going to flip their car over. It's going to be all kinds of bad for them. I take a 50-50 fight here, and it is not going well for me. That guy shreds me once again. You know, I take a pretty stupid fight. Again, he was on better cover than me. I was just kind of forcing this fight when it wasn't very smart. I figured I have the mythic AR, I can probably win this. But yeah, this guy's just in better cover than me. He's got like a little head glitch going, and he's hitting good shots. So I'm very happy that he didn't continue to fight. He was hurt too, but I was very hurt. I'm just gonna heal up, try to get as much health on me as possible, and then get straight back into pushing this guy with the health advantage. And just the amount of advantage that we have in our inventory, I'm pretty confident that if I can take a fight where it's not just 50-50 aim duel, you know, out in the open, we're gonna be all right. So we're gonna reload everything and just get back to driving. We know this guy's missing 2 wheels now, so he's not gonna be able to go far. There he is. And I'm just gonna switch to passenger seat and start spraying his car. Boom, we've hit him for a lot of damage now. Now he's gonna get in our car, we're just gonna spray that as well. And there we go. Pretty easy. Only 8 players left, so I'm feeling like a lot of pressure. Just keep going. We hit some heals and we get to moving. Now look how fast we are moving. We hit the chug jug with the boon that gives you infinite stamina temporarily. So once you heal, you get a lot more stamina. You get infinite stamina for a while. And we got this sprint medallion. So we are just trying to utilize that as much as we can to move fast. Using sprint jumps since we're not using any stamina when we do that. And now we're going to go to Demon's Domain and try to look from the top of this probably to look down, because again, those viewpoints are getting like a bird's eye view on everything is really helpful for finding players. Even just like seeing a car in the distance or seeing like really any kind of evidence or bunkers that players might be in an area gives you like an inkling of where to kind of go next, because oftentimes, if you're just staying low on the ground and just moving throughout the map, it's hard to find players. So here we go. Because we're on height, we see that player right here. We're going to push him, go for a little camera break, and turns out to be an AI. So that's okay. We're getting back to moving. We see gunshots here. This is 2 people fighting, which is not good. We want to third party this as quick as we can. Seems like they're still fighting. Looks like there's one to the left right there. I just pay no mind to him. And I push straight in. Not very smart, but hey, it is what it is. Fortunately, this player is not the quickest on the draw. They took really a few seconds to just kind of look at me before even thinking about firing a shot. Unfortunate for them. We probably shouldn't be in the same lobby. I feel bad. But it is what it is, and now we're back to surf cubing, and we're just jumping up and down because we're expecting a third party here. Now that the numbers are getting low, you expect more often to get third partied after a fight because people want to take out players at the end of the game when the fights are easier. They don't want to be stuck in like a 1v1 versus a healthy opponent, or even like a 1v1v1. You know, they'll look for easy kills right now. All right, so we see a car, we instantly jump out of that and we start putting pressure on. So again, what we talked about is putting pressure on early, getting aggressive early, sets the tone, makes them scared, and just kind of gets them in a running situation. We jump straight in the car and we just start putting damage out. We're gonna go ahead and reload because we don't want to blow up this car and then have 0 ammo in our magazine. So we're gonna go ahead and reload just so that we're ready for the fight. So they jump out, they try to send us off. Now this is something that's very common if you played enough Fortnite. You know that when you get somebody's car hurt or they start driving towards a cliff, they're just gonna exit the car and throw you off the cliff. So just jump out the car as well. Even if they stay in the car right here, we just blow the car up. So there's no way I can lose this as long as I jump out right here and I don't stay in the car. So we hit them with some nice heavy damage and just play super aggressive, cut off their exits, and now we just stand still and so yeah, just being incredibly aggressive from the start of the fight can really pay dividends for you during the end of the fight or middle of the fight, because the player oftentimes just thinks that you're way too aggressive and not somebody they really want to fight because you're just like, you're a psychopath, right? Like, nobody really wants to fight a psychopath who feels like they're just taking massive risks and just jumping in and like are incredibly confident and aggressive. And if you're a little bit nervous or feel a little bit of fear in a fight, that fight's pretty much over before it even begins, because if you're scared of your enemy, you've kind of already accepted your fate that you are going to lose the fight. That's kind of one way to counter these sweats. Try not to get taken off guard for one. Try to outmaneuver them as soon as they jump on your head. You got to get out of there with some movement yourself, some combat movement, which is why you always want to carry combat movement to get out instantly if you get out in trouble. Don't use a surf cube if somebody jumps on your head, because you got to pull it out. You got to start riding it, and by then you just die. So something like shockwaves or the mist cape, something like that is much better option. Base boost gauntlets are okay as well. They do take a little bit of time to pull out though and get up into the air. So the cape and shockwaves are better, which is why I've been kind of using those. And now we run over here and we hit this guy with a movement. Now this is what I was talking about earlier, where you hit him at close range and then you move to further range to create this awkward situation for them where they don't really know which weapon to use. This guy's already got his shotgun out. Now he switches to the AR and he actually starts hitting some shots. I thought this was an AI. Ends up being a real player who puts out some good damage on me, but because I distance myself like this, he's got the wrong gun out and he's already too late in the fight to really get back into it. So even though he starts ducking and shaking my screen and making it very hard for me to hit him, it's already over. Respect to that player for fighting back though. Most players just give up in a sense. That guy actually fought back, which was surprising. I guess last bot dies to Storm. 19 bombs instead of 20. Oh well. Still some, some decent aggression throughout that game. A lot of real players, which is nice. All right, to recap on the essential pillars to get more eliminations in your games or be able to W key. Number one, you need to cover more ground so that you can scout your surroundings, scan them, get a lay of the land, see where players are at. And if you can't find anyone, you just keep moving, go to the edges of the map. You want to cover all four corners of the map. You want to go around the entire map searching for players. Once you find a player, you ideally want to jump them, take them by surprise, jump on their head really quick, land some heavy damage at the very beginning of the fight, and give them no real choice but to run. And by the time that they decide to run, you're going to be so close to them that you can just finish out that fight quickly. If you start taking fights from long range at the beginning of the fight, it's usually going to result in your enemy being able to kind of flee, and then you have to chase them for like 30 seconds to 3 minutes, and it just becomes this whole thing. So if you really want high elimination games, you got to take a little more risk, and you got to get in close, jump on their head, hit them hard, and then just don't really give them the ability to escape, which is not something I typically recommend. If you want to win more games and play safer, that is not the way. You really do want early damage in those fights, usually from mid-range to long range, and then you move in, close out the fight when you have a huge health advantage. But we are talking about W keying and getting high elimination games, so that is not the same thing. All right, the next essential thing is you always want to be on offense. You want to be putting out a lot of pressure early, and you want to be hyper aggressive and kind of just give your enemy the feeling that there's no point in fighting back and that they just really don't stand a chance from the get-go because you're just so aggressive and confident. And if a player starts fighting back from afar and hits you good, or a player just goes into stealth mode and starts hiding, ratting around, then I would just get out of the fight, because generally it's going to take a little too long. It's maybe a little too risky, and you could be getting eliminations elsewhere and then fighting that player later when you find yourself at more of an advantage if they are holding a really nice advantage on you and you can't seem to create your own advantages. And then the last thing I'll mention is just about inventory. You want to be carrying 2 mobility items at minimum, generally a rotational movement item and then a combat movement item, and then you can actually throw a third movement item in there if you want, or you can throw in something like a scanner. But utility is really good because it's going to allow you to make fights quick, allow you to get in on opponents, get out of fights really quick if you need to, throw down bunkers or bubbles to gain an advantage. And you don't really need to be carrying health if you're going to be W keying, because if you can end those fights so quick, you're not going to be taking a lot of damage. And if you do, usually you're going to be able to find health off your enemies. And if you can't, you can just rotate around the map, search for some superhero chests, find a chug jug just kind of laying around from a boss fight or whatever. There's a lot of heals, as well as chug barrels and chug trucks and all that. So if you learn those locations, it can really help. And you really only need 50 shields plus your overshield and 100 green health to get back into the action and catch somebody off guard and then get to full heals from their loot. All right, guys, if this video was helpful, please leave a like on it. It really helps me out. If you want to support me and my family even further, please consider using code TobyOneShinobi in your Fortnite item shop. it would mean the world to me. And if you don't use my code, please use some creator's code because it makes such a big difference for us. Just use anybody's code, your favorite creator. Always make sure you got somebody's name in that box in the bottom of your Fortnite item shop because it resets every 30 days. Now, after watching this video, you might be thinking, dang, that looks fun, but I'll never be able to do that because my aim and my movement just kind of sucks. You know, I'm trying to improve, yada, yada, yada. Well, if you want to improve rapidly at Fortnite Zero Build with your aim and your movement, you definitely want to use my Shinobi Zero Build Mastery Course, map code above on screen. I guarantee this will make you a better player. It will improve your aim and your movement. I have spent a lot of time building this map to make it the best I can to help you guys out and make you better players. And here are 2 more ways that you can take your gameplay to the next level. Number 1, if you just want to keep watching YouTube videos, go check out my must-watch playlist on my YouTube channel for Fortnite Zero Build. I guarantee these videos will be game-changing for you. I only put my best of my best content in there that is evergreen, that is always going to be relevant, that is always going to kind of fundamentally shift your gameplay and make you a better player. It's not just like tips and tricks. It's usually fundamental advice and perspectives that are really going to help you improve. And last but not least, if you want to improve your skills rapidly, you want to get some private training. And the best way to do that is to join the Shinobi Clan Discord as a master level member. You'll get access to private trainings twice a week with myself and other masters, which is 8 total private trainings per month for less than the cost of a sandwich. I think it is a pretty great deal. You can also join at any other level to get access to the private Discord, which is zero toxicity, 16 plus, and has incredible people and incredible resources in it. So check it out. You won't regret it. All right, y'all, I'm done yapping and selling you on all of my programs and blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you've made it this far, truly thank you. You're incredible. Leave a like on the video because I think you liked it, and I will catch you in the next one. Have yourself a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening. Shinobi out.